My name is Shane Brett, and I am the CEO of a company called Gecko Governance. And what we do is we make it easy for fund managers and banks to manage all of their compliance and regulation. And right now, we're just launching a new project and building a new product called Crypto One, which is specifically aimed at bringing compliance and governance to the ICO and token sale world. So we've been in business for the last 3 years. We have offices in 3 countries. We're VC funded. We're headquartered in Ireland. We have an office on Park Avenue in New York and also in Sydney in Australia. We currently have 11 staff, and we raised $1 million last year in VC funding to expand and build out our existing fund solution and roll it out with some really leading Tier 1 financial institutions like HSBC, AXA, and State Street. Our investors, Cosmo Ventures up in Boston, are heavily involved in the crypto space, but they found it really, really difficult to find a solution that would give them transparency as investors into their ICO allocations. Very, very difficult. So we've worked with them over the last few months to bring out the first enterprise-level solution in the marketplace for managing governance and compliance. I should mention our ICO is fully regulated. We've registered with the SEC here for Reg D and Reg S, and also we are authorized by the Isle of Man in Europe by the Financial Services Authority over there as well. And we were instrumental in setting up the International RegTech Association as part of our expansion of the company to bring regulation technology to different areas like crypto. So guys, the real problem in the industry, as many of you may know, is that there's no standard governance model for ICOs or for token sales. Along with regulatory risk, which is still very gray in many areas, multiple bad actors and scams taking $9 million every day, which is outrageous, a lack of due diligence and transparency for investors. I mean, regulators have basically had enough. And there are 2 core and ongoing pressures coming onto this space. Investors on one side, like our VC company and some of the investors in our private pre-sale, who want much better transparency and oversight of their allocation and investments, and simultaneously, regulators who have tried to go easily maybe last year and are now going to come out over the next 18 months with much more strict regulation. I mean, we view 2008 as the year of the subpoena, 2019 being the year of trials, essentially. Coming from the hedge fund world, every major innovation in the last 30 years, be it securitization, derivatives, exchange-traded funds, they've all had a spectacular initial growth period and then been slammed by regulation. And we are going through that transitionary process right now. We're right at the very start. But what will happen is, by adopting mainstream levels of enterprise risk and compliance solutions and also governance, it will enable this whole sector to grow much more efficiently and attract mainstream money, because at the moment it's really holding our industry back. There's so much price volatility, there's not enough liquidity, and it's because all these big players are sitting on the sideline. So Gecko Crypto One is the first enterprise-level compliance solution for the token sale and ICO space. And it's specifically aimed at investors so they can have a clear, live oversight of their ICO allocations, and they can see and be ensured that there's a high level of governance in place at each of those particular projects. So in our Crypto One ecosystem, and we've done this already, integrated in blockchain for the hedge fund industry, we're replicating a lot of that framework for ICOs. And what that means simply is that if you're an investor, you will get live oversight reporting from Crypto One. If you are a project, you will be able to streamline and operationally make much more efficient your whole process of managing your ICO. We have taken a lot of inspiration from a great white paper from the ICO Governance Foundation, which is a non-profit trying to bring high levels of self-regulation into our sector, and we have pulled all of their recommendations into our solution. And we basically force ICO projects to follow that process. In countries where they have regulation, like the Isle of Man or in Singapore and Switzerland, we've automated and pulled all those rules into our solution as well. So the idea is to give these projects a Gecko stamp of attestation if they agree to follow this process successfully. And that means they can go out to investors and show to regulators and third parties that they're following our minimum level of compliance. And of course, partners is a really important one as well. So we are opening our ecosystem to some of the leading players like T0, Securitize, who are here, Walkman and PR, and that means they will be able to access high quality projects through Crypto One. They'll be able to get paid in Gecko tokens, which will push up and should increase the demand for our tokens, as well as we will take tokens, Gecko tokens from projects at the same time reducing the projects in circulation. And the process looks very much like this. So we have basically built out a detailed workflow for every stage in the ICO process, from the initial pre-planning, right at that white paper stage, to speaking to the regulators, working at your AML, your security audit, your rating agencies, having all of what is currently 10 or 12 mini projects, as we know from doing our own ICO, and centralizing it in one compliant, efficient manner. Well, we can offer regulators permissioned access to all of the reporting so they can be assured, and investors can have live and free oversight to all their ICO investments. So guys, to do this, we pulled together a really good partnership ecosystem. As I mentioned, exchanges like T0, the Gibraltar Stock Exchange, even over in Australia with BitBlock, similarly Securitize on the technology side, and multiple KYC and AML providers like Identity, Mind, and Ofido. So we've got a really good high-quality partnership in place to roll out this product. And our team of 11 people, half of which are here, have spent the last 3 years working with me, rolling out this industry, and coming from some of the leading financial institutions before this, like Morgan Stanley, UBS, State Street. I wrote 2 books about hedge fund regulation and over 40 white papers. And V here in the corner has done blockchain work for everybody from PwC to the United Nations. So we've put a really strong team in place. We've done this before in the funds world, and we know the level of enterprise compliance that's required to make ICOs a palatable and acceptable investment opportunity for wide stream and more mainstream investment funds. We've pulled together a really good team of advisors. Jeff Parker on the left, who invested in our pre-sale last week, is the ex-CEO of Thomson Reuters. Dan Viola, who's here at the moment, actually at the conference, is an ex-SEC senior compliance examiner. John D'Agostino on the bottom left has set up the work and the digital assets working group to bring out some really good commandments around crypto, and we're involved in that. And lastly, Alan Kozrinsky is the ex-PwC head of blockchain here in North America. So guys, finally, we set up this company 3 years ago to bring much more governance and transparency to the hedge fund industry, and now we're doing the same for the crypto world. This industry will really only grow and reach its potential if it gets mainstream investment, and they are currently sitting on the sideline because they have not got the kind of reporting and quality risk and compliance processes in a solution that they require. As I mentioned, we kicked off our private pre-sale last week of $2 million. We've raised just over 60% of that, and we're kicking off our main sale for $20 million at consensus in 2 weeks' time. We're also members of the 1% pledge, so we're giving 1% of all our proceeds to children's charities, which is important for us. And lastly, we have a booth here at 604 in the corridor, so please feel free to come down. I've been informed we have some very nice donuts for investors if you want to come by and have a conversation. Thank you very much.